Welcome back to NJ.com. Jackie Friedman here with the Star Ledger's boys soccer expert Chris Orlando for soccer season 2011.
Wow, how was your summer?
It was wonderful and short.
And very short. And we are back
As
again.
always.
Amazing that we are here again on the precipice of another season, and it's gonna be fun and interesting.
We're going to start with some, thoughts that carry over from last season. We'll focus on non-public A, where 1, 2, and 3 teams from last year finished.
Yeah.
St. Augustine, who beat Pingry in the finals. Pingry was our finished number 2 team. Seton Hall Prep, who didn't have any losses, but because of shootout, didn't win a championship either.
It was a bone of contention for a lot of teams last year, losing in a shootout, but not officially getting that loss. Hurt a couple teams, hurt CBA. Hurt Seton Hall, obviously. I want to start with St. Augustine. They are the top team from last year. They did lose, a couple good players, including Connor Herf, who was number 1 on their team last year, was All-State selection. But this team, who went 25-1, they won their final 11 games. They beat Pingry in the rain, 2-0. They return a lot. They have Dominic Palmieri, Taylor Herf, who's the brother of Connor, Chase Tenbrook, Alex Robbins, and Nicholas Giordano. Look for them to carry this team. I mean, I'm not going to say they're a favorite, but they're a strong contender in that section. So see what they can do.
Tough section. Pingry next. They were our 2008 champ, and
and again, they finished number 2. They entered that game number 1 last year. 18-2-1, not too bad. Coach Miller Bugliari always has a team prepared. Dylan Key, Mael Corbos, Freddie Ellett, Cameron Kurzik are just a few of the players that make them another strong contender.
And then we have both Seton Hall Prep and CBA trying to creep up to that 1-2 spot.
Yeah, and those are both 2 teams that didn't benefit from the shootout. They had that loss. Seton Hall Prep, they were number 1 in 2007, 18-0-3 last year. They quote unquote lost to Pingry 3-1 in the shootout in the North Jersey non-public final. Coach Monty Berman has a team always prepared. They did lose a lot. They have Casey DeFleur, their top goalie, back. Brandon Savino and Jonathan Azanari are also back up at the midfield. Going to be strong again. So it's always non-public A. It's always to me it's the most interesting section because there's so much talent there. And then we go into CBA. It's Christian Brothers, Daniel Incroft. This team may be the favorite when you open the paper on Friday to see our preview. They're loaded. 18-1-1 last year. They lost once to Del Barton, their first game of the year. They won 18 straight. Then they tied Pingry, but lost in the shootout 3-1. Dan Keene, the coach over there, does a great job. He has 16 seniors this year, and they're all ready to go. And they add a healthy Scott Thompson, a senior midfielder who had an ACL injury. This kid's back. He's raring to go. This team down, short conference always loaded. This team is looking to go beyond the short conference this year and looking to put another trophy in the case.
I think we got some teams that are going to practice some PKs too.
Yeah, I think that's a definite. You want to do that at all times.
We'll give some love elsewhere too, obviously. West Orange looking to bounce back from a Group 4 semifinal loss to 100 in Central. You think they'll be even better this year than they were last year?
I do. I think they could be a Group 4 favorite. Their forward play is excellent. They have Jelani Williams and Kazari Trout. They're 2 top players for that team. Again, 21-3-1 last year. Lost a very tough game, the 100 Central, 3-2. Once those games get into that state tournament, gets into that round, where those games are so tight, it's amazing how good the competition gets once the state tournament starts.
Sure. Scotch Plains in Group 3 maybe didn't have the season they wanted to last year, but they were so young. They have 11 returning starters and 20 returning players.
Yeah.
These kids know what they're doing together at this point.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing that went, that they didn't achieve was, they got the Union County final, which was a great run for them. And Coach Tom Brzezinski is going to his 37th year, was honored as the coach of the year in the county last year for that. They're loaded. I don't want to put the target on their back, and not saying it's going to be that way, but it might be that way. And Coach Brez is going to, he's one of those coaches who just comes back year after year and just accumulates the wins. And he's 3 away from 600 for his career. So that's 4 away from 600 for his career. So
we'll expect to see that happen.
I think so. Yeah.
Talk a couple of games this upcoming week. Scotch Plains is one of them. They get to renew an old rivalry with St. Benedict's. It's been almost 8 years since the two met. Pretty storied programs there.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Rick Jacobs does a great job at St. Benedict's. Probably the best team in the state. Of course, they're a prep school, so we don't really include them in the rankings in our top 20. But they're loaded again. They're highly ranked in all of the major, the ESPN, the national ranking, National Federations of Soccer ranking. So they are very loaded, and they're going to go into Scotch Plains on Thursday and play that game at 4 o'clock against the first time since '03. So none of these kids have experienced that rivalry. So they've heard about it, but they haven't experienced it. It's their first time on that great turf field at Scotch Plains. It's going to be a great game. Hopefully the rain holds off.
Sure. And then we have a CBA hosting Del Barton on Saturday. Again, CBA's only loss from last year. Maybe a chance to avenge that.
It's Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's in Lincroft. Again, Del Barton beat them 3-1 last year, and CBA went on to win their next 18 games. So, again, this is probably a statement game. CBA's been waiting all year for it. I'm sure Del Barton will be ready for it, but I think CBA just has an added incentive of let's get this one off the books first before we can start taking on the rest of the season.
If you want a doubleheader Saturday, Don Bosco plays at Clifton for a 10 a.m. breakfast game.
Yeah, might be a little bit early for me, but Don Bosco, another strong non-public A contender, and Clifton, a great Group 4 school. They're going to meet up. Always a great test, and it's going to be very early for both schools, so we'll see where they stand right now.
And then looking ahead a little bit, September 14th, we've got Seton Hall Prep at West Orange. Two teams we've mentioned here with some pretty high accolades from last year and presumably upcoming this year.
Probably next week's game to watch. It's a week from today and Tuesday. And again, it's early, and these early tests are pretty much, they set the tone for the season because a lot of these teams, they really get a lot of wind under their feet when they win. And the teams that lose just really want to just erase that victory, that defeat as soon as possible. So, these games are early and they're quick, and hopefully the weather holds up, and it's going to be a interesting season this year.
Yeah, well, we're back for the excitement. We hope you join us. He's Chris Orlando. I'm Jackie Friedman. We'll see you next time.